And let's dig a little bit deeper on this with ABC News legal contributor and defense attorney Brian Buckmire. Brian, we heard from Rudy Giuliani. He says he feels like this defamation trial was unfair. He repeatedly tried to downplay his role in those threats made against these two election workers. The jury clearly did not buy that. Walk us through some of the evidence that led to their decision here.
Yeah, so Trevor, don't forget, this case was not about whether or not he was liable. The judge had already decided that going into this case. This was all about dollar amounts. And so the evidence that we heard was about how this affected these two women from a financial as well as an emotional standpoint. For example, we heard Shay Moss take the stand and say, when she tried to go to get a job at Chick-fil-A, that the employer turned around the screen and showed a picture of her with fraud written on it. Now, I'm not trying to discredit Chick-fil-A. I'm sure it's a great organization, a great place to work, but she couldn't even get a job there after she lost her job as an election worker. It was evidence like this that really poured into that compensatory, emotional, and punitive damages.
Of course, we heard all that testimony because they were called to testify. Interestingly, though, Brian, the Giuliani side did not call a single witness here. What do you make of that legal strategy? I mean, did that seal his own fate?
I think so. What we're seeing both in the piece that you showed earlier and in court, it's almost like two Giulianis. The reason why we're here at this stage of talking about $148 million is because Giuliani had what's called a default judgment, meaning he didn't participate in this legal battle, putting forward information to make his own stance or his own arguments to show why he did not defame these women or to show his own financial kind of capabilities to participate in this case. And so I'm fairly confused as to what arguments he's making now outside of the court when he didn't really participate in the court, whether it be taking the stand or even just filing arguments on his own defense.
Do you imagine that they might try different tack with this appeal that they're promising?
Absolutely. I would compare it a lot to what we saw in Alex Jones's case, where he was found liable not only in Connecticut but in Texas, to the tune of about $1.1 billion. I think what we're going to see from Rudy Giuliani is he's going to file for bankruptcy and try to see if that Chapter 13 bankruptcy can protect his assets. We know, for example, he has an Upper East Side apartment that's trying to be sold for about $6.5 million. He's going to try to keep his personal assets and try to rearrange his debts in a way that they cannot attack him for what little money he does have. But again, comparing this to Alex Jones's case, we've seen federal judges say, bankruptcy does not protect you from the malicious and willful injury that we're seeing in these types of cases with defamation. Now, if he's got evidence to show, I think we're all waiting to see it. But in a lot of appeals, it's kind of like if you don't use it, you lose it. If he doesn't make the argument at the initial case, he thus loses the opportunity to appeal based on that argument. So again, not participating in the kind of back and forth of the trial aspect of trying to see whether he's liable or not, and that's why they got the default judgment. He's left with very few, if any, appellate issues.
Very interesting, and I do think it's probably safe to say he doesn't have $148 million either. Brian Buckmire, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.